All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Valence League Pokemon Showdown. Pokemon trainers Initialize and Nymera are looking to battle.
And Nymera used pun. There was no effect. However, Horizon Light had the type matchup. They had the extra CP, the extra levels, the extra everything on their side of the battle arena, and they crushed game one.
Yeah, they did. Didn't need a Malphite to provide Stealth Rock to bring down Charmander Nerd, and just won that one out straight away.
Absolutely. In particular, I think that now TKDS need to watch out for that Cloud. I think that multiple teams in the Valence League have shown that they don't necessarily know how to set up the map effectively to stop themselves getting collapsed on.
Yeah.
And getting flanked in particular. Like I was saying, it was really the flanks which sealed that game. Half of it was the Nico, but not even, yeah, and then the other half was, of course, the Cloud, who was starting off so many of these fights and just shutting down the Ashe. And as we were saying, the Ashe was the one threat. The Ashe died very easily in a lot of fights.
That's with double support and an Ornn front line. That's a difficult space to be, and credit to Fatman Gandhi on the Cloud for finding ways, and credit to Jaded for finding good Pop Blossom engages, throwing himself headfirst in on that Nico. We are going to see, importantly, I am Towie subbing in for the top lane here in place of that'll be Daddy J, who has been subbed out. And
that's kind of unfortunate because Daddy J did have a good game.
Yeah.
I don't think he was the problem. That being said, I don't think any individual member of TKDS was the problem, quote unquote.
It was more of a gameplay holistically.
They weren't on the same page. They didn't realize what their composition was really meant to be doing, particularly in regards to the Kled, like I was saying, but also to stuff like the Volley Bear, which did run across the map pretty easily. It also sucked that they lost the bot lane where potentially they could have won that 2v2, but that's more of a thing which is always going to be a bit of a dice roll, right? The laning phase is always a dice roll.
And Caitlyn Zyra is always a bit nasty to push into anyway, so I can see that problem.
If it's a skill matchup, it is what it is.
Volibear will be banned out this time, and that means that Charmander Nerd won't get to do what Mithy did in the last game. We'll see what the first pick here will be for TKDS. Three Kings of
Orientar.
It's not Orient. I've got to think of something else for D. Deorient Sar. That's just because it's DS. It's not. OIA.
Wait, we're back to Nintendo. Wow, incredible! League of Legends coming to Nintendo DS.
Well, we did say it was a Pokemon game, didn't we? So this is it.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, it's yeah.
All right. Well, you've heard it here. The first pick was the Misfortune.
Nintendo DS. We found out the anagram. Oh, I'm so proud of myself.
Well, the response from Horizon Light may well be the Leona and the Caitlyn lock-in. Upcoming Uzi had a pretty good game on the Caitlyn, so...
Why are there so many Zubats in this cave? Everything's so scary. Oh man, I'm having too much from this. Misfortune, lane dominant ADC, locked in for Just Weasel. Potentially something which you can perform a bit better on in the Ashe and position further back for the bullet time. But it's against Leona, against the Caitlyn, not going to have a lot of room for error.
Well, we made the gladiatorial puns the last time out. We're going to have a bit of a pit fighter in here in the form of the boss set locked in for TKDS alongside the Oriana, which is powerful tool if you know how to use it. Set provides a fantastic option to get that ball in as well if you can get the right showstopper.
I wouldn't mind that going into the support role. I think that
the set we're talking about.
Yeah, the set going support. No, Oriana support is no
suspect. Yes,
not so good. I think the amount of CC he brings and the amount of disruption can set up very well for the Misfortune, and does a lot of early game damage even from that support role. Of course, the Haymaker being good in regardless of what items you build.
True damage is the long and short of it, and the ability to just bring that out and have a ridiculous shield is just powerful, flat out.
Yeah, he should have been in the ban, not Echo, with none of his true damage. Any of the champions in the true damage ban do not have.
Set even out at that point.
They should have released him.
Well, there you go. I mean, Kiana builds lethality. She kind of edges her way towards true damage, but none strictly straight in the kit. Morgana banned out alongside the cast in here. Again, these bans have kind of been relatively target focused. Jarvan here will be taken away as well from Charmander Nerd. Is just a really easy combo with Oriana to make off the table.
Sure, but then Wukong's in the game now. That's a big thing. It's not unlike the Kled in terms of being able to run around and get into the back line. Get into the back line and start disrupting people. I know it is that flex towards the jungle as well.
Mithy plays a lot of it. Is there the reason? I was like poking my paper and watching my color caster just like roll his eyes, like just the way that Mithy does like to go.
And this is the thing, right? Particularly at this level of play, you're playing more around your player's champion pools rather than what is this champion best in. The Aurelia's also been locked in as well. That's good into the Orianna. I'm expecting level 6 solo kills in that mid lane.
That feels like a talking point I've heard before for some reason. Ignite and Vanguard's Edge and a couple resets on the Blade Surge means a lot of damage out of Aurelia, and Orianna doesn't have all that many ways to disengage it. Frankly, she's got none apart from a shield and maybe a bit of a speed up on distance, and that's about it.
Okay,
Sejuani locked in for Charmander.
It is, so this will be the set either in...
They figured it out. Charmander
you take the rock type yourself.
You have done it. You have removed the stealth rock by becoming it yourself. Bring ice and rock is the option here. Look, it's all coming together.
All I'm thinking of is that SpongeBob scene where they're making sculptures out of rocks. Like, gotta see the rock, gotta be the rock, gotta date the rock and take for a nice dinner. And you know how
this is what happens.
Yeah, that's what happens. You end up playing on Summoner's Rift.
Well, that's likely going to be the Malphite top with the set support, and then that Sejuani in the jungle. Beefy frontline here for TKDS, and we asked for Orianna ball delivery systems. There's 2 come 3 there that are pretty damn good.
I think Aurelia is going to have a really hard time fighting front to back. If you walk into this team and set face breakers you and enough auto attacks come through from the 3 melee champions on the side of TKDS, then the Sejuani stun comes down and you're in a lot of trouble. So what you're trying to do is be very coordinated about the way you go in on the side of Horizon Light. You want the Mordekaiser to take out someone like the Misfortune just to make sure that they die, just to guarantee that, or the Orianna, or anyone you think that you can run down, depending on their HP bar and summoners available. The Wukong, Aurelia, and Leona want to be getting as much AoE damage done as possible, and see if they can run over the fight within the first couple of seconds with all people on the same page. The other side, though, looking once again to protect Just Weasel, and maybe they'll have an easier time of it with more tanks this game.
Bullet time plus a shockwave with all the delivery systems in the world before that ball makes TKDS
Malphite set
gameplay plan exceptionally simple. Dive in, press R. Looking over Horizon Light, though, it's a little trickier to play. We've been over it. Again, they've got a lot of wombo combo themselves. The Wukong, the Leona, Solar Flare, and Cyclone do a lot of work with Aurelia and Caitlyn putting up as much damage as they can. It's just a little less straightforward, and with the front line available, particularly Jaded's life could be challenging. But then again, Aurelia's not bad in the tanks in the 1v1. It's just in the team fight where it's going to become a bit more challenging.
I'm particularly interested in the Mordekaiser. I think Mordekaiser can definitely get to a point where Malphite can't really tank him up because you have Leandri's and Nash's Tooth. I think those 2 items, once they're built, Malphite will really struggle to 1v1 the Mordekaiser. There is an interaction between them, though. If you see the Death Realm channeling and you cast your ultimate, you're unstoppable, and therefore you ignore it. And if you can either use it to run away or disengage and not be trapped in the Death Realm anyway. So look out for that, see if that comes across, because anything which makes you unstoppable can stop the Mordekaiser ultimate.
Also, this is I Am Towie, guys. This is a man who probably is unlikely to build tank. I suspect we might be seeing the AP Malphite as well here for the true nuclear missile in the top lane coming out.
Oh, so Fatman Candy has got the nuclear deterrent against him.
The civilization puns.
Well, the thing is that the Fat Man was also the code name for one of the bombs.
My days, the wheels within wheels. Okay, that's. I mean, it's all historical. It's all there. It's also a little bit like yes. Of course, it's all referencing back to Civilization 5 as where Gandhi was the most peaceful man on the game until...
We've got time.
Until, of course, you did something nice for him, and then his peaceful meter went to -1.
So what happens is...
actually, tell me the coding on this.
So what happened was, effectively, they had this sliding scale...
So 0 to 28.
Of pacifism to aggressiveness. Something like that. And Gandhi started at such a low scale that he could theoretically, if his civilization switched over to democracy, it would end up flipping so much negative onto it. It makes you so passive that it would end up like Asteroids, one of the original video games, just flip around to the other end of the scale, and means that he became infinitely aggressive, unlock stuff like nuclear warheads, and go to war with everything in the game.
Yep. That was Gandhi's civilization, to the point where I think they kept it in Civilization.
They did. It was so if you switch to democracy, then Gandhi is not
is a non-democratic.
He becomes Anakin from Episode 3 and says, "I brought priests, justice, and nukes to my new empire."
And gonna have to hope that I Am Towie has the high ground with his unstoppable force versus Fat Man Gandhi, who is that name is wheels within wheels, man. We've been over it, we've covered it, and we know where the top lane is going, namely to explosions and
Towie 1
scary
Kenobi.
old-
Yeah.
Towie 1 Kenobi versus Batman Gandikin.
That works for me.
Yes.
I mean,
that
yeah.
was like as far as Star Wars
I can
puns
see,
go, that was,
I can
that
see
was,
Mordekaiser being Sith. Like, of course,
Yeah,
Cassian
he-
was banned. The Darth Vader look like not in the game.
Yeah, there's a bit of Darth Nihilus in there, I grant you.
Yeah, no, that's how you say that.
He's
Nihilus?
I've gone with Nihilus, but Nihilus. No, I can't remember quite. What
Is it from
pronunciation.
nihilism or nihil? Yeah,
It'll be from nihilism. Yeah.
Ah,
No, probably is Nihilus, isn't it?
maybe. I'm not sure. Unless it's just not from that and it's a different name. That's also
Always
a possibility.
possible. I'm just remember how I think the pronunciation was Nihilus, even if the root isn't it?
Yeah, makes sense.
Nilo,
Okay.
but there we go. There is a Knights of the Old Republic 2 reference. We've gone deep into Star Wars lore, so
Yeah.
deep that we probably have to return back to the world of League of Legends before we never leave again.
Sure.
Yes.
I think there's a couple of really important breakpoints for the side of Horizon Light,
Okay.
particularly in regards to if you get a Black Cleaver onto Wukong for a lot of these fights, if you Q someone and hit them with the ult, between your 30% armor shred on your Q at max rank and then also the Black Cleaver shred coming through as well, Aurelia and Caitlyn are going to have a field day if they hit that one target and they just die. I think even if Malphite did build tank, or Sejuani, of course, does get to 2-3 items, they are going to get absolutely shredded. That's an important breakpoint. Also, Aurelia might go towards Blade, the Rune King, and then Black Cleaver in the second thing as well. Of course, you can go towards Triforce, can go towards a number of different builds on the Aurelia. We'll see what Jada really fancies on that, whether going towards higher teamfight survivability or higher 1v1 potential. But that's what I'm looking at for. Black Cleavers on top of the Wukong armor shred, which allows Caitlyn to just really wail on someone.
Partly why that Wukong has been so strong in competitive. Bluntly, 2 AoE ultimates and invisibility is also just really, really strong.
And also, the ultimate stacking up your Conqueror as well, and having a really high tick rate, means that your Conqueror gets stacked very, very quickly, and the other thing is that your clone mimics your abilities. If you hit the Q, you get the double bonk, which is really important. And yeah, you also get like some cooldown refresh. I'm paused at 10 seconds.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
Lovely. So,
production
Gandhi
confirming that Civ 6 Gandhi, as I suspected, was as violent and evil as can be in that particular game.
Forget about Darth Jar Jar. It turns out Civilization Gandhi is the true enemy.
Fat Man Gandhi, the League of Legends equivalent here, on the great evil Mordekaiser.
I love that Aurelia skin. Actually, I don't have it.
I've not really seen a lot of it.
It's got like
so many good Aurelia skins.
It's effectively just like look at those gunblades, man. Look at those gunblades. Cool. They're so cool.
It's very, very Final Fantasy 15.
I know it's got like wings and gunblades. I'm like, yes, this is my Square Enix fantasy.
Yeah, Noctis wants his swords back, but until such a time as that, Jade will be running around with the High Noon Aurelia, and Matt Mercer out there is cringing in fear of being asked to say that line one more time.
Yeah.
This is not Overwatch. We've still got High Noon in it.
You know what really annoyed me about Overwatch? They added a character called Ashe, which was a white-haired marksman. Like, come on!
No, there was
come
a certain amount of overlap, I grant you.
I get that every game steals from each other, and League is just a clone of Dota or whatever you want to say, but come on!
Like Base Hunter made a song about Dota, sort of.
Yeah, but then CSU Dragon made a song about League of Legends.
Using the Base Hunter song about Dota.
Nah, it was his own song.
Okay, sure.
Nah, we don't steal anything.
No, who would do that? Mythy here is unofficially spotted.
It's like that most original of games, Mobile Legends.
Yes, there's not been too tall, but potentially put themselves in trouble with right game. That's probably I'm not. We'll probably leave that one alone because I am A, not a lawyer, and B, don't want to get find myself with letters from lawyers. So.
And the important thing about all of this is that they haven't done and that's the important thing they haven't done.
I'm glad you shared that stream so everyone could understand the true atrocities that have been started in this game as Darkness Rises comes out against Towie and he dislikes that. It's away.
And that's
Towie 1 Kenobi versus Fat Man Gandikin will continue to be up there. John Williams definitely composing a new soundtrack for that one. Jada, though, hit level 2, finds the stun, but doesn't go any further. He's gonna find himself with a blade surge on front, though, going forwards. Gets the Conqueror stacked very swiftly, but Tower shot will dissuade too much more. Jaded has got the health bar advantage and notably has biscuits in inventory and calls the corrupting pot.
Yep.
Can take those heavier trades just against Quee because he doesn't have that same option.
Aurelia does end up rolling a lot early, and because you have single target spell on your Q when you do go all in, you take minion aggro. You have to play around minions, so you do end up taking a lot of extra damage. Oh, that's a Q reset.
Oh, it is. That dissonance was pretty huge to slow down though. The corrupting pot coming through, and that is a very clutch job. We've read too much more damage coming out. Clockwork Wind-Up was definitely wound up.
Sure, but then the Time Warp Tonic giving you that instant burst of HP when you pop a pot gives the instant 100 HP or so from Corrupting Potion, and of course the biscuits as well. Means that even though 2 turret shots have been taken in subsequent trades, not going down just yet.
Found a way on to Charmander Nerd, who's a little bit low here in the jungle, but less to be found. That Sejuani sniffing around the low health Jaded, trying to shield Quee, who is in a really... He's under tower for sure, but Jaded may well look for an engage here if Quee can't get enough health regen.
Might end up doing that, but of course no ignite, that's a big thing, and flash is both available. If you flash away when the mark is still on you, fine, that's okay. The Aurelia can still get that kill. But if you end up flashing away after the Q has been used, then the Aurelia gets into some trouble. One of the other big things about Aurelia has a really huge auto attack range, so you need to play her ranges really, really carefully. She's almost like a semi-range champion, like 250 range on her auto attacks, whereas a lot of people only have like...
Go again, another stun lands. The shield will come through, the flash out, but Mithy was looking for it. Can't quite find the range, and Jaded moves down to minion aggro. Oh, shock and horror, and Horizon like finally fall over the event horizon, and that was a black hole to fall into.
And this is why whenever an aggressive 1v1 laner is in the game, you talk about wave management. What the worst thing for an Orianna would be is if Jaded had not killed the wave, they had it frozen outside his own turret, which means that you can't rely on your turret evening up the damage in these trades. It's the same against Yasuo, the same against LeBlanc or Fizz or anything else with that kind of solo kill potential, but Quee gets pushed in and manages to use the tower to his advantage.
It's not done yet to engage him, and not the Messiah trading Haymaker, or rather Facebreaker, and Zenith Blade forces a bit of an aggressive back there, flash out from not the Messiah because he saw Mithy coming in. The Ignite was burned from engage him on the other side.
And speaking of stuff flown, going back to that kill in the mid lane, double flash burn for that as well. It's both summoners out of Quee, using the teleport to reset. Getting a Seeker's Arm Guard first, it's pretty big because it affects the Wukong in particular as well. Aurelia has decent mixed damage. Her E at max rank does something like 230 damage if you do hit that. And your of course your passive has some magic damage, and your ultimate is that as well. So you have a lot of mixed damage, and that's one of the reasons she's very good against a lot of tank matchups. You can't itemize that effectively against her. However, if you build into Zhonya's effectively, you can Zhonya's that ultimate or the stun, potentially deny Aurelia that Q reset.
That is the key. Nachi as well.
Minion
management is huge. Level 6 for Queen. That's a pretty big deal. And you can see what the Aurelia was doing there, holding the way further up the lane.
That's what you gotta do.
And you can dive forwards on the back of those minions and force an Orianna with no flash to walk all of the lane back to tower. And you can see the fear in Queen's eye. He's like, I've got to shove out this wave so I don't get frozen against, but I don't want to walk forwards. And Jaded, very close to that level 6 mark, could definitely look for an all-in.
Absolutely could. It's the level 6 Aurelia point of power with no summoners available on the Orianna. Can't flash out of the ult, can't flash out of the E. Even without the ignite, it is within kill threat range. With Mithy on wolves, maybe going towards Raptors. Stun lands, but it's getting close, man.
The dissonance there, the additional movement speed, I think just about saved Quee from that. That was pretty bloody close.
Yeah, it's definitely up there. And lane gank coming in from the Sejuani. Hex flash forward. I think this is just a pressure gank, making sure that the wave can be pushed out because the dragon is alive right now.
See the Charmander roaming up towards that dragon pit, looking to start that up. Mithy is on the top side of the map and won't have a lot of an option. There's only a Grump up there. He's not going to find a lot in the jungle to talk about. Instead, actually, so Charmander just wandered all the way through the river. Is going to back, but actually that Scud Guard spawning soon. I might just stick around and pick that up, especially with the Infernal Drake being up.
Has a little bit of gold in inventory, but not enough to complete any kind of items. Might be backing just for a pink board so they can set up more effectively for it.
Sure, but like, there's uncontestable if you get that Scud Guard. You can get that, then back, then clear, and then be bound from Infernal.
I agree. No, I agree. Particularly, but then maybe you think that there's a teleport from Mordekaiser and Malphite just had to back, and then so maybe Mordekaiser can come down there. Jaded has ult and a wave in a position where he can run to it, and of course bot lane has the ability to run up with that set. Haymaker really effective early trades.
It is.
I agree. No, I agree. No, you're right to point that out. Maybe I'm not being harsh enough. I've been too kind.
You being kind? What's wrong with you? You're following too much into the light side of the force. There's only 2 Sith. There's only 2 casters. follow after the dark side of the casting. Team of Jaded taking half HP, but now going in on Vanguard's edge. That's a good shockwave. No mana, no life, but does have a Sejuani coming on top and just got enough back for a Blade Surge. Now the Cyclone is in. The Permafrost, but Mithy gets the second kill. 2 versus 2, and a clutch amount of mana coming back will get Jaded a kill onto Kui. Would it look like the Ariana had got everything and more?
Triumph, a level up and Conqueror work in tandem and keep Jaded alive. He goes in for that extended play with the ultimate, has the wave in a better position this time, and there is no turret shot to equal up the play. There is, however, junglers to tilt the scales, and Mithy comes out tops.
Oh, I thought Commander Nerd had it. I thought there was no mana. I thought there was no way, and it was just enough to pull Jaded out of the flail range to Blade Surge forward, get that last auto, and get the kill. And then the 2 versus 1, turn it all around. So well played by Horizon Light.
If we're going to flame something that you were going to say earlier, if Charmander Nerd had level 6, maybe had gotten that Scuttle Crab in another camp and come into that with the ultimate and the Glacial Prison, maybe that play goes in a 2-for-none for their team instead. It's the small things, it's a game of inches, and the inches were all going over the line to Horizon Light.
Speaking of those inches, we probably shouldn't check in with some of those CS leads, because everywhere but mid, there is a notable CS lead, and once again, upcoming Uzi on this Caitlyn is making Just Weasel suffer in lane.
I mean, speaking of the original Uzi, of course, you said in the first champion select, Caitlyn was his crutch pick of, okay, I win lane on every champion, let's make sure I index into that, and I'm going to crush lane. You don't get to play the game. He's come back with a pickaxe advantage over the longsword, of course, both AD carries having that BF sword, looking to transition into a strong point of this game.
Taui now taking a slap into the face. Catalyst of Aeons in inventory. Don't know whether that's going towards an Abyssal Mask or a Rod of Ages as yet. But interested to see where that particular build goes. I'm looking at the comment on there, and again, that doesn't necessarily tell us all that much. Commander Nerd, Charmander Nerd. I think Commander Nerd.
I'm Charmander Nerd, and this is my favorite
Gank on the Citadel.
Gank on the Citadel.
On the Rift. We're into a pause again there.
That's really unfortunate timing, because you know there's going to be flashes and ultimates blowing top lane. See what happens.
Here we go. That's an Arctic Assault that goes nowhere, but there's a Death Realm that's come out, and I am Taui's in so much trouble. The Obliterate smashes the mountain apart, and
he literally just Zawardo stops time with the pause and gets the kill.
Sets in the bot lane, but it doesn't matter because the JoJo plays are in the top. And Batman Gandhi might go for something or more.
Literally just saw JoJo in League of Legends in real time.
You thought it was Mordekaiser, but it was me, Dio, and slaps Mordekaiser in the face. But in the mid lane, it's trouble again. Kui is in the Vanguard's edge. That's a shockwave. That's a flash out. And the shockwave brings me the Horizon mid laner, and says Psych, Ollie Sykes, that one's not going to work on me.
Oh, so you don't know how to follow that one up, though. I'm just going to leave it there for your enjoyment. That is what happens, again, wave management, when you have aggressive mid laners. You don't necessarily have the ability to roam first to a play or shove and roam, but you have the 1v1 kill pressure, and you can eke out individual advantages. What this means is that there is no flash on the Orianna now. There is a flash on both the mid and jungle, and an ultimate available from the Wukong, who is looking maybe to punish Charmander Nerd now. He goes into his jungle. He's used the Arctic Assault.
Oh, he's gone over the wall. He's found far too much trouble, and this time, the Horizon finds you. Charmander Nerd goes down, being a little overeager to get into his jungle and farm.
Delved too greedily and too deep, trying to go just for his raptors, trying to pick up himself a takeaway popcorn chicken because it's been closed for so long. It doesn't matter though, it goes down for his second death of the game, and the mid-jungle duo of Horizon Light coming out on tops.
I am Taui here, is looking to go to the Abyssal Mass now with that Negatron in there, I'm assuming. That should tell us exactly what the build is, but Batman Gandhi was just slapping it with a big mace.
Hugo Bonk.
This is a bonk squad though. We've got Wukong, the great double bonker, Mordekaiser with
Leona, the shield bonk.
The shield bonk.
We just need Nasus mid lane.
I mean, Irelia has a lot of bonking mid lanes.
It's not like the overhead smash.
No, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
I need like Nasus and who else does a good bonking? Just
That's really not a bad bonk.
that's not awful.
But it's the sound effect as well, like Jax.
Jax. We need Jax.
The best bonker.
And
Tower bonker.
Yeah, it's like, we had that the Joycey baby Bonanza.
Yes, I remember.
And it was a
Congrats again, Joyce.
Yeah, congrats again. Wonderful to hear.
Go buy
Having
merchandise and support Joyce's
No, but
lifestyle.
we wouldn't sell out. But if we were going to tell you to buy merch, it would be right
Do
now.
it for Joyce.
And you would go to gamersapparel.co.uk / some stuff, which you will find earlier because I can't remember.
I think so.
/relevant.
Man alive.
Yeah, no,
we're the best at this. We really
Oh
are.
man, I'm making so much Skrilla right now.
Well, Skrilla aside, that was something. All right. Infinity.
I would make a new genre of music dedicated to Skrillex called Bonk Step.
Look, okay. Bonk Step's one thing, but the Reptile thing bonk right now by Horizon Light. They've got Uzi.
Why are you
flashing Charmander and try and steal it? Can he get the smite? I have no idea. He did not steal it. And that looked like tilt to me. That's a very dead Sejuani. Why is the fire type playing an ice type champion? Because he cannot keep his cool.
We're back to Queen references. It's Flash. It's rolling in the mid lane.
I love you, Charmander nerd, but we've only got 10 seconds to get the cloud late in this top lane, but the bullet time will come out.
That's actually, yeah, okay. I didn't think you'd take on that reference any further, but yeah, sure. For those of you that don't understand that, go listen to Queen's song Flash. It was pretty funny.
It's great. It's great. I did it right there. Oh man,
we're such a musical cast today.
we really are. Jaded does hit the Vanguard's edge. That's another good shockwave though. An under tower is Jaded. Will take a turret shot, but takes a second. But that is a well-timed W, and Quee is more like because he's dead again.
That's a sound effect. Yeah, we're only gonna we're Korean casting now. Onomatopoeias is
oh! We need a third person here to do more appropriate sound effects.
Do we have any? I don't have a clown sound effect.
Will this work?
That's going
No, that's
that wouldn't be
the thing is though. You're pressing buttons on my soundboard. You don't even know what they do. I don't think Tauri knows what he's doing either. 1v1ing the Mordekaiser.
Let's get out. The Death Realm is just a near death.
That's so. Taui had a near-death experience, and Death had a near-Taui experience. In the words of Terry Pratchett.
Terry Pratchett's great. Yeah, I miss him.
We all do. Wonderful, wonderful author.
Yeah.
We're expanding to all the arts, all that literary, music, and everything else. Without the Death Realm hero on the bot side, it will be 2v1.
Alright, so the top force now comes out. Batman Gandhi is going to put up the shield, and now the darkness rises. The obliterates are coming down, but it's Batman Gandhi's health bar that is the one that is suffering the most. The obliterate at the end did a fair amount of work.
That was
but
very
it
close.
wasn't enough.
If that Leandris was completed for that fight, that is probably a 2 for none. Unlucky for Batman trying to use that Death Realm, didn't finish off the 1v1. It's how he gets out without blowing his ultimate, which sets up the Charmander nerd, who didn't even need to use his ultimate to secure that kill. It's a necessary shutdown. Gets Charmander nerd a little bit more into this game. Still behind in XP, still behind in gold as well, but at least gets something to show for this earlier part of the game. Although it's heading into mid-game now, he's going to need to pull his weight a lot more.
15 minutes in, it is a 4,000 gold lead over Horizon Light, and they've got the item completions largely over their opposition as well, particularly in that mid lane right now. That blade ranking for parts is a pretty significant advantage, as well as that Leandri is now complete for Mordekaiser. They're going to roam over Horizon Light and look to start up the second round of the game.
Yeah, and we'll have to see, well, who's available for this fight. It's 5 members of TKDS, whereas Mordekaiser's still on the top side. We were talking about that Glacial Prison Steel being available. The Shockwave is too. It's the only that Unstoppable Force not ready just yet.
Despite having that forward, they cannot see the ward in the bush, and you can, as my color caster points out, see Mithy down around that Cry Brush in the bot lane. He's going to leave now from that flanking position. And once again, Horizon Light have position over this Baron. Engaging has aggro the dragon, taking a fair amount of damage actually from that. It's a bit frustrating. Yeah, 4 autos, but still around 2/3 of the HP. Remember, all this while, Batman Gandhi has had a lone time in that top side. Gets the first turret, is now going to teleport in. Jaded looking for a huge Vanguard's edge. The Cyclone is there, and the inclement weather continues. Jaded on the rampage. No Haymaker available, and that's a second onto the Aurelia. The Death Realm is down, and Taui is about to find himself in the Death Realm and dead as well. 4 for none right now. The Zenith Blade comes out, and Quee finds something with a return kill onto Clifton Gazing with the Shockwave. But it will still be the Dragon. It will still be 10 kills to 3. And it will still be a 7,000 gold lead to Horizon Light at 17 minutes.
And we finally have the answer to the question of, well, if they tell you to walk off of a Clifton, would you follow? Apparently not.
Yes.
The Leona goes right under the tower, and the rest of his teams just sat there like, oh, we got the dragon. No, Leona, no.
That one was a little bit like, there was a bit of hype there for the full ace. It didn't play out.
There were no flashes available to follow up. It was
No.
literally just Leona's left. Goes in for that last bit of CC, but potentially should have just backed off. Does fall down, but it's silver lining off of a particularly dark storm cloud for TKDS.
All right, so we know that Horizon Light are very much in the ascendancy in this game. Once again, we're seeing Fatman Gandhi with just pressure in the side lane, which is a big deal. That there has been a lot of room for the TKDS to find that score in this series so far. But I do want to ask this question: that what do TKDS need to do to come back into this game? Obviously, we know the wombo combo is there, but how long do they have to wait? I suppose would be the more nuanced question to try and find that response, but actually just going to go straight on the Quee, and that's just a lot of damage in the 2 versus 1. So many slows, so much damage, an ace in the hole, and the Orianna falls down for the 3rd time this game.
Well comboed by upcoming Uzi, he gets the maximum DPS output on the Caitlyn, but it's Clifton who of course lands with a Zenith Blade at first, not the Messiah running forwards. Not sure he's going to find anything there. You were just about to ask me, effectively, what do TKDS do in terms of this wombo combo? Why isn't it working? Why haven't they done it yet? A lot of it is because it's very telegraphed when they want to go for a play right now.
Yes.
They need to start off by getting vision. That's not happening because they're losing their sidelines, as you also set up as well. And I mean, look at this. Caitlyn Wade plays in mid for forever. It's not like Set is running off, getting wards of his own, because he's afraid that Wukong's going to come onto it. Or the Leona as well. It's not like you can leave just Weasel alone in the mid lane either. That's where it starts. You need to get the vision, but they're struggling at step 1.
Getting the vision comes from having a certain amount of lane pressure. They don't have that lane pressure. And this is where it is dominoing from, where the snowball has rolled. And at this point, it may be too big to stop. There's no Nunu in this game, but you can feel that this is still a pretty monumental note.
This is the thing, right? Aurelia, does she have a lane matchup that she's particularly afraid of? Well, we've seen her dive right onto the Orianna, who's gone for the Ludens. I actually wonder whether a Saras might have been better this game to get a bit more defense, because there are so many ways to dive onto you. You still have a lot of damage with that Saras high AD build. The Ludens gives you more poke and a slightly more wave clear. So Aurelia, more than happy to face off against the Orianna. Malphite, what about him? He's 0-2, he's down a level on the Aurelia, doesn't have a first item completed, and is going towards MR. That's not really a good matchup either. So at that point you're thinking, well, we probably need someone like Set or Sejuani to roam towards that lane, but again, that's so telegraphed at that point, because the Mordekaiser also needs answering to. There are only so many places that all of these TKDS members can be on the map, and it's just not working out for them. There are too many cracks to paper over.
And as long as Horizon Light don't group up, they will force a couple flashes there on just namely the one.
But that's an important one. It's the Caitlyn. That's something out of nothing. That's good.
Big. But this is the issue, right? That's great. They find the flash. Maybe you can find an engage over on. Still got that 50 on that. Still got a fair amount of support with people being able to return the engage if you don't manage to blow up with that. The item discrepancy, the level discrepancy, that's still pretty hard work right now. The problem is that if Horizon Light just don't group up, there's no chance to bring that wombo combo together. Even if they do group up, the chance of actually that wombo killing someone right now is pretty low.
It is, and the hit single is back. Killer Quee. He's dead. Gone.
Dead.
Buried.
This is a few times now. Unfortunately, the Quee's been having some connection difficulties. I think, guys, over the course of the series has had
playing more than fine.
Yeah,
playing
playing
more
fine.
than fine.
Yeah, and
Maybe this isn't even his true form. Maybe this is the Rock Quee with the training weights.
Rock
Maybe it's just Rock Quee. Yeah, that's how it works. Maybe he's switching over internet. Maybe we're finally seeing his true form. Potential unleashed.
Right, well, the training weights will come off.
Give them 3 solo kills to give them first false hope.
That's it. Bring the horizon closer. I've been over this already. Random British rock band references aside, we will probably talk about.
Hang on, let me go through my Spotify. What else can I make as a joke?
All right, well, I'll leave you to that, and I'll talk about the game state. How's that?
Nah, well, sure. I mean, it's not like I've got anything interesting to talk about, right?
Okay, so I'm looking again at this, probably about 8,000 gold lead now, and all things said, double 7.5 over to Horizon Light, and that's pretty huge. It's 2 turrets to none. It's 11 kills to 3. It's 2 dragons to none. We are on a mountain rift as well. That's a good soul to be getting. Like, all of these things are screaming alarm bells for TKDS, and unless they can find the mother of all wombo combos, they could be in serious amount of trouble.
Well, I haven't found any good puns yet, so
All
I'm
right,
gonna
do
keep
you
going.
want to keep going? And I'll leave.
Well, there was a really good one in the caster Discord earlier. You know, like talking about being a color caster for the VL. Like you could only crutch so hard on. Oh god, this is such weird play that I can't analyze it. And so I said, yes, it's like Metallica's Caster of Muppets. It's wonderful.
Genius. All right, well, welcome back to the Caster of Muppets, and we'll be your.
I'll go find out who said
Be
that. It's
your
a fair
master.
representation.
All right, well, anyway, we're back into game. The pause is done, and I'll leave Chimera to hunt for more song puns. Dragon will be spawning in under a minute, and you can already see that Horizon Light are setting up once again. Vision control over entrances to the river critically to try and prevent Charmander Nerd, particularly from trying to find a way in and put the down. Oh, that Death Grasp just not actually prevent the recall. I thought he was going to be in time, not quite there by Batman Gandhi, but that would have just been another one of those really obnoxious plays. Just like, even my recalls aren't safe.
That'll be the OGN recall, the infamous recalling in a random river bush and just dying.
And
And
that's
let
fine.
it not be said that I steal my puns. That was by Cradden in the casting. I was like, wow, I was trying to think of another good pun. I'm like, nope, that's it. That's the best one.
That's the best you got.
It's really good.
Well, you know, maybe you know, with Quee on the team, with Queen reference, how we're going to follow We Will Rock You on the mouth fight and just
I think I'm looking forward to the Battleman metal of Charmander Nerd, harking back to the original metal band with Warpigs. So Ronnie.
Yeah, that's good. That's the Black Sabbath reference. I wasn't expecting it, but there we go. Ozzy Osbourne is not here, but the Blizzard of Oz may continue even if it is not an ocean rift.
But we have Snow
Teleport
Day
coming in.
Wait, he can cancel it.
And he can cancel. He's going to be fast enough to cancel, and that is going to leave it in a 4 versus 4. I don't know whether that will be enough, but Howie now trying to run away. The Mountain Drake still started. Teleport completely interrupted, but I'm not beside going over the wall. Trying to steal it! Charmander Nerd gets it! Finds the thief! And that is a massive, massive win. The Vanguard deck will come out, but Aurelia diving forward, diving further, trying to get onto Queen, trying to get onto Just Weasel, trying to pop him, but that's a massive face breaker to turn it around. Mithy gets to kill onto the set, but it's a 1-for-1 in that. Batman, Gandhi, and I Am Taui still trading in the top side, but the tower will be there to keep I Am Taui alive. And a 1-for-1 with the Dragon stolen is more than enough for TKDS there.
It is. The Dragon still being pretty huge, and it turning into only just the 1-for-1, all things said and done, really was against the turn of play. It was a wonderful stop from Taui in the top side, but it was also a little disrespectful from Fatman Gandhi to teleport and just walk just out of vision. It was very obvious where he was teleporting, even though he has the pressure in the 1v1. He doesn't have the ability to run down the Malphite after the cancel, and he doesn't really get anything for it.
Wow, that's just huge. I'm Taui, they're still taking some obliterate to the face and regretting his life. Back away may well see his power as a result. The heal from the Indestructible is keeping Batman Gandhi very happily
And I'm so
stocked up.
sad we don't have any of the old Mordekaiser ability named based off of
Mace
Punch
of Spades.
Mace of Spades, yeah.
And was it Iron Man was the ultimate? There's a few good ones in that, wasn't it?
But yeah, for sure. I think he had like Children of the Grave as well,
Yeah,
which is an Iron Man thing.
Yeah.
If you don't know-
all old school classic metal.
You can guess my music, basically.
Ed Sheeran, right?
Let me just, lose a spleen or something.
He's all right, man. I don't mind Ed. He's a decent bloke. Writes some good songs. Writes a lot of songs. So some of them have to be good. Okay. Our accepted continues. TKDS will put some moves down and we have control largely over the top side of the river. You can see that Horizon Light's still looking around still having a pink wards in the dragon. Useless for the next 3 minutes. What do you think about moving those? You see Clips and Gazium over here starting to do just that.
It's the thing, right? They have so many ways to fight themselves. But then they have to worry about the one above the Malphite Ori, but if they split up and they do get a huge Aurelia roll, as what happened in the last fight too, Jaded is getting to the point, particularly once he finishes the Death Stance in the next 4 or 5 minutes, where he can legitimately 1v2 the backline and come out with 1 or 2 kills, or at least buy enough time for Mithy on this insanely fed Wukong, who, by the way, has a 1,000 gold advantage over the enemy mid laner, has completed the Death Stance and going towards the Black Cleaver as well. As we were talking, that's a big item break point for this team because there are a triple AD threat that doesn't want to be wailing on certain targets. if they do go in on the same time, if they're on the same page, go in at the same time, this is going to be a really messy team fight. TKDS have team fought their way to a couple of scrappy victories, or maybe Pyrrhic victories, the best way to describe it. It's going to get harder from there on out.
Okay, so there are some items now in 2 Infamous Oriana, notably means that the shockwave hits a bit harder. No double item for this Misfortune particularly. And remember, 2 crit items for Misfortune, and the bullet time is one of those really big breakpoints for that champion. And once that comes in, you can see the Infinity Edge is being built towards with the pickaxe and the quick poking infantry. But those can be complete for the next team fight. By the next minute or so, then maybe we can see a wombo combo where people do die for TKDS if they can get a
That's the
hold
thing
of it.
for this watching, right? She has this brief window of power where she pops her W if she's auto-attacking, or she just stands back and ults. And all she needs is the crit and the AD. She doesn't need an attack speed item. So you get, what, 70 AD from an eye edge? Something like similar from an Essence Reaver as well. Check how much that is. It's 70 from an Essence Reaver and it's 80 from Infinity Edge. So you get yourself like 150 AD, and of course your ultimate can crit on the bullet time, means you do shred over team fights. Won't have the Infinity Edge for this next fight, nor will they be sniffing out this Baron too quickly, but Gandhi's here.
And not the Messiah, doesn't find religion, but finds Fat Man Gandhi, which was a real sad spot, and is now in the Death Realm. The Haymaker goes wild, and there's the Showstopper to try and buy a little bit more time, but the Obliterate squash is set.
That's me in the Death Realm losing my religion. You're gonna go along with that?
Yeah, but it's all coming out.
It's all coming out, and it's all going down in the Baron Pit, and it's going to be in a 4v5, and the fallout from this play will be the Baron. Looks like going over to Horizon Light, although still saying they are not peeling off it just yet.
Okay, well, KDS are not okay, and the Black Parade will have to try and find their way in here and try and find something. Charmander no taken so very, very low. The Cyclone's in, and the inclement weather will claim another life. There was no eye in that storm, just death.
Oh,
and Jaden steps forward. The Shockwave's not bad, but the Vanguard's edge is better. Just Weasel and Queen now caught in trouble. Jaden gets a double, now trying to find more, but the dissonance slow. Massive with all the ranks in it at this point in the game, and with a 3 or none in favor of Horizon Light, and not the Messiah, only now respawn coming onto the map. It will be a second Baron start up for Horizon.
Will be, and luckily there, the Vanguard's Edge actually cancelled out the bullet time, which had like another second and a half to go before that ultimate timed out might have ended up with Gandhi, and potentially turning something around. It was the shockwave into the bullet time, very nearly turning something into a more even, again, Pyrrhic victory for TKDS, but now it is just a straight-up loss. Baron, a number of kills, and the run of the map for Horizon Light.
Only in League of Legends. Here we are. Context is everything. Mountain Drake will be started up by Horizon Light, and they desperately don't want to lose this one again. This could have been Mountain Soul if they managed to get the last one.
It was a heroic sale last time.
Charmander knows over the back. He's got the smite disadvantage, but he's not on vision. Pull it out of the pit, boys.
No ultimates available for Horizon Light. The Shockwave is back
again.
up.
They're trying to get it, and no!
3 man!
This time they get it, but the Shockwave is huge. The Haymaker is huge. The health bars are not. Now Charmander managed to make a way over the wall. He's in the Death Realm, but nothing more to be found. It's a 1 for none. Shockwave not quite enough.
3-man Shockwave with a lot of AP behind it. Very nearly once again.
Bullet time wasn't enough.
Turn something in from nothing, and the bullet time, of course, was not available. Slightly longer cooldown, slightly less cooldown reduction does mean that there is the desync in those timers and not there to finish off the kills.
Oh, heartbreak. And the snowball earlier on is still continuing. It's over 10,000. It's more like 12 at this point. And we're not even 30 minutes into the game. That is a massive goal lead. You can see 3 items on Serenity at 7, 2, and 4. Jaden has had a phenomenal game. Mithy as well now at 606 has also completed his 3rd item. Double Black Cleaver, double Death Dance in for both of these mid and jungle players. That's pretty huge.
It is. I was talking about how Aurelia, once she gets the 3 items, can 1v2 the backline. Look out for that now. An extra Negatron Cloak available too will be denying a lot of the secondary damage coming out from TKDS. Stuff like the Malphite, who has a lot of magic damage in this kit. The Sejuani, a lot of magic damage too. And then, of course, importantly, the Oriana coming out with more of a primary damage source. Very happy to take the 1v1s across the board, and I don't think Malphite wants to take this one.
No, still threatening as Jaden.
Does have the Bramble Vest. That helps a bit.
Helps. Does indeed. Arctic Assaulting away. Arctic Retreat, more like.
Ah, yes, the Scion Special.
The Scion Special. Yelling Coward. makes you go the other way. It's a little bit, it feels a little bit vaudeville villainy, you know, like, I'll get you next time, you meddling kids, kind of vibe.
Funnily enough, I started reading a book called that literally today.
I saw that one actually earlier. I thought about picking it up again. It's gonna wait on that one.
What?
Looks could be quite good fun though.
I was like, in any other casting pairing, this would be psychic, but we just happen to live.
Yeah,
Just happen to live together.
I know exactly where you found it as well. But,
and it looks like TKDS are living with a 14,000 deficit. That's a lot.
it is.
By any measurement, that's a lot.
Alright,
But that's
here
a
we
big
go.
ult.
They're gonna try and find something that's a decent bullet time, but the retreat was far enough. Clifton Gazing is still in trouble, but the flash out and the aftershock buys time. And it looked nice, but they couldn't keep people in place long enough for the bullet time to really do work. That was the
That's the gold. That's the gold right there.
That's the gold.
Leona's very far ahead. Has some, the nice foul next train
Good
session.
shockwave, potentially.
But does it finish anything? No.
And that's both major teamfight ultimates down, and now Horizon Light will feel emboldened to step forward. The showstopper out, but that's a dead set. Went into nowhere, jumped off the cliff with Clifton Gazium. Goes golden is Quee, but that Chocobo is only as golden as the fire that's burning it. Now an upcoming Queasy will kill off I Am Cowie, and it's 4 men dead for TKDS. It's only Quee who did survive the fire in the end, but the base is in shambles. 2 inhibitors are down. There are minions streaming into the base, and this Orianna has got to try and wave clear. Hold out for 20 seconds before just Weasel can come up, and maybe, just maybe, they can hold on, but there's 1 Nexus Tower remaining. They've got such little to do. The Dissonance is only buying time, and the Nexus going down, and Horizon Light will claim this series 2-0. TKDS get demolished in game 2.
The difference between a vaudeville villain and a supervillain is that the supervillain actually wins, crushing the second game in dominant fashion. It's 2-0, it's well-deserved. Now they're looking towards the rest of Division 3.
Maybe they look like all of those Infinity Stones in the Gauntlet of Horizon Light. 1 stone for each player. And 1 stone in particular was looking pretty damn good for TKDS, and that would, of course, be their mid laner Quee, who put out a fair amount of damage.
It wasn't the stone in the top lane. I was like, wow, we're talking about Malphite? I wouldn't agree with that.
But on the other side, we did see Jaded. We did see the Mordekaiser of, I can do this. Name forgets me. I've got the wrong name written down.
The person we were riffing
Yeah,
about
it's-
the
of course,
entire
it's-
series.
The reason is I've got different names written down from the op.gg's, and it's not who's actually on the Rift. And I was like, wait, I'm looking down at the name and it's confused me. But Fatman Gandhi and Jaded did have a very good series, as did Mayfield as well.
Absolutely. I was really impressed by the laning prowess of Horizon Light. At the end of the game, almost a Flame Horizon in the mid lane and CS advantages across the board. The thing for me is that a lot of the time when someone gets so far ahead in gold, it's because they're taking stuff from the rest of their team, either taking jungle camps like the mid laner going back to take Raptors or something. Nope, the entire team is ahead in gold. Even it's only the jungle, which is slightly behind in CS. Doesn't matter when you're 7-0 and 7, 12,000 gold, which is that's like 5,000 more gold than the top and jungle of the enemy team. That is scary from Mithy. Everyone on this team, and also upcoming Easy, deathless across the entire series.
This is the team that got to finals, that barely lost a series, that looked pretty set to go to Division 2 if we're completely honest. They faltered in the finals, but they are looking in this split to move up to prove that was a stumbling block, and this is a pretty statement series. That said, I do want to turn our eyes to TKDS and talk a little bit about what we saw. Game 1 was misplay of the comp, but there was some good bright moments, and this second game was a bit rougher, I think.
This definitely classifies as one of those games where, like, I like what I see before you turn on the nameplates and before you really look at the gameplay playing out in front of you, which sounds a bit harsh, right? But the idea is there. And that's something in itself, because sometimes people are sat there going like, oh, what do you want to play? Well, I play this one champion, and everyone else kind of chiming in, and you kind of end up with this mishmash of stuff which doesn't really fit together. The comp they played in game 2 definitely works. Again, the comp they play in game 1 definitely works. They're just not necessarily making the connect between game plan and gameplay. And that's what we'll need to see moving forward from them. Potentially something to just revisit in scrims.
Okay, so we'll have to keep that up for TKDS. Good ideas, not quite executed, just taking a second too long to be in the right position, not pulling the trigger at the right time, not being aware of flanks. It's vision, I think, for me, that's been
Vision's a
the real
big
problem.
thing. Sometimes it's the item builds as well. Like I said, I was talking about the Quee across both games put out good numbers, but potentially could have had more efficient builds. And as much as you're playing well, sometimes you do need to help yourself with the correct build. Well, I say correct builds. It's very subjective. I'm sure that they have certain preferences around it, but sometimes there is just an optimal way to build.
All right, so you've heard that there. Impressive stuff from Horizon Light. Jaded, Mithy in that second game. Fat Man Gandhi as well on the top side. Ran it over. Upcoming Uzi and Captain Gage had a great laning phase as well. They're looking pretty strong, coming out as a strong contender in general. TKDS, back to the drawing board a little bit more time to synergize, get themselves together, get that wombo combo to really pull off. But I think that means for myself and Nymera, be all from us here on the Valence League Stream 1. I'll leave it to you.
Buy the merchandise at that one website. We linked those multiple times. We're not selling out. Don't be afraid of us. Buy the merchandise.
There are no Dark Lords and Sith on this cast. See you next time, guys.